My name is Ian Thomas. I'm a clinical trial research fellow at Cardiff University. How are AML clinical trials designed to maximize inclusivity? Acute myeloid leukemia as a disease is slightly more prevalent in males than in females and becomes more prevalent with age, up to a maximum of about mid-70s. So the most common new diagnosis in the UK is for a male in their mid-70s. To ensure that our clinical trials reflect this wider acute myeloid leukemia population, we undertake a number of strategies. We include as many patients as possible, which is the main fundamental structure of trying to reflect the wider AML patient population. We do this by dividing newly diagnosed patients into younger patients, which are those under the age of 60, older patients over the age of 60, and the very elderly, frail patients. At any one time, we have 3 national clinical trials ongoing. This maximizes the number of patients who can access a clinical trial. In order to do so, we make our trials available in as many centres across the UK as possible. This includes large teaching hospitals in large cities, district general hospitals, and as many other centres as possible. Additionally, we try and keep all the patients within the clinical trial design for as long as possible. Largely, acute myeloid leukemia treatment is divided into induction treatment, which seeks to put a patient's disease into remission, consolidation treatment, which will maintain the remission until hopefully a stem cell transplant, and also maintenance treatment in certain disease populations. To report on inclusivity, it is important for us to gather the correct data about all the patients who enter each of these three trials. This data includes gender, ethnicity, but also what you might call softer data, which impacts on a patient's access to a clinical trial. This might include how far they live from their treating centre, their socioeconomic status, and their support network. For example, whether they live alone or whether they live with a partner who can take them back and forth to hospital for their treatment. An important element of ensuring inclusivity is to gather the right data points about each of the patients who enter any of these trials. Further, it is important for us to report and share the data about the patient populations within our trials. Initial evaluation of our trial populations suggests that our approach to make all of our trials available to as many centres as possible produces a trial population that is broadly matched against the wider UK population. Although we already gather much of the important data which ensures inclusivity into our clinical trials, more work is needed, particularly around the areas of socioeconomic status and how far patients have to travel in order to get their treatment within the clinical trial. Some data that we've already gathered must be reported more widely and disseminated better with patient groups. Interactions with patient advocacy groups will ensure that we continue to capture all data that's important to patients and which may provide barriers to their access to clinical trials. We will continue to broaden the data that we collect and improve the processes that we follow in reporting that data. As future trials in acute myeloid leukemia will be challenging going forward, it is important that we ensure that all patients continue to access clinical trials and that all centres are able to offer clinical trials to patients. Thank you for watching this short video, and thank you for hearing my thoughts.